Welcome to this episode of the Waiting in Queue podcast, and this is an episode we have been just waiting for. I was super excited about this. We're obviously talking about Colgate toothbrush. No, we finally were able to watch the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings prequel series on Amazon.
Ooh, just got copyright.
Yep.
That was so close to the actual
Yep,
sound.
they're going to claim it. So, yeah, we were going to take this episode to really kind of talk about it, break it down, what we thought as, Lord of the Rings fans ourselves.
I feel like pretty hardcore Lord of the Rings fans, but
I wouldn't say that too much for myself just because, I haven't really gone through and read. The only book I've read is The Hobbit. I haven't read the Lord of the Rings books.
sure. But I don't think it strays that far off, does it?
And there's like a couple things here and there.
So does Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter. I mean, that's pretty, along the same lines. I mean, the reason the people like the movies themselves were just good, and it didn't stray too far from the book. Like, there's like smaller things like when they go to Rivendell for the first time. Like in the book, they stayed for like 3 months or 3 years, but then in the movies, it was like a couple days because they wanted to send that sense of urgency of like, oh, we got to go and do this. So there's like little things there that make it different. And there's probably more. Like I said, we haven't read the Lord of the Rings books.
Fine, I guess we're not hardcore fans, according to Derek.
I mean,
Because I don't read.
I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings movies. Let's just say that.
And games. I'm a big fan of the universe.
Yeah, I love the
The
universe.
entire story is amazing. Like, it's really good. But the Rings of Power, they have released on, this is a plug, so Amazon, hit us up.
Better pay us.
It's on Amazon Prime, and
First 2 episodes were released
first 2 episodes came out
Thursday night for us.
Thursday nights, but the world release was it was out everywhere on Friday.
Yeah.
And we watched them Thursday night. I did.
Yeah. I did see it, which was pretty cool. There's this guy on TikTok. He does like all Tolkien lore, so he pretty much like answers questions, like misconceptions and stuff. They invited him to the premiere of The Rings of Power, so he got to go and watch it, like the premiere at the theater with like Jeff Bezos and stuff like that. I don't know if Jeff Bezos was actually there, but pretty much like the elite people.
I bet Jeff Bezos was there.
I also did see before the show was out, or they were in the process of making it, Jeff Bezos' son went to him and told him, "You better not fuck this up."
See, the thing is Jeff Bezos has no tie in it. It's just his company's money, and he's not even the CEO of Amazon anymore.
He probably approved it at some degree. That's a lot
Sure,
of
but
money.
I don't think he has a hand in the actual thing.
No, not like he's directing it or anything.
He has no hand in that. It's just with same thing with New World. He has zero hand in the making of the game.
Most that he probably did do was like quality control of like he watched it and was like, I think this is good to go, or he can say
Maybe.
I'm saying like he had to for sure like watch it and think like, oh, I think this is like good enough. And
really,
whatnot.
you think he does that too?
What you think he?
I don't think he does. I think he's too big of a big head to even have to worry about that
think
shit. He also is not the
just
CEO. Like he's no longer the CEO.
Yeah, but he's still a big part of it.
Sure.
But like you don't think it was the biggest budget in like TV history, and he just wrote it off as like, I don't care. He had to have some like eye in it, and the reason that he wanted to invest so much money in it was because when Amazon was like it was a bookstore. Their number one seller was always Lord of the Rings. Like that was the thing that really made them a lot of money. So I think
I weirdly think that I think people say he has a bigger hand in that stuff. Like if it's tied to Amazon, everybody thinks like Jeff Bezos was sitting there the whole process. He was not.
Oh no, I don't think he's sitting there the whole process, but I think he definitely was like, obviously he signed off on like, this is the budget probably. And then had them do their thing. And then, like I said, he's just doing like quality control of like, he watched it, he liked it. He thought it was good, or he's there and going like, "Listen, guys, we're not doing this. Oh, we're gonna change parts of this show so you guys leave your mark on it. We want to try and be as close or whatnot to the books as we can, or we want like, because we already know there's certain aspects of the show that are different from the lore, like the main girl, Galadriel. She's a
she
warrior.
wasn't like a warrior.
She was normally like a witch.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, she was far from what she is depicted in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the movie, she's more depicted as if she is her like true form.
Mm-hmm.
But in the show, not so much. However, I don't really give a fuck. It was good. So
yeah, there was a lot of people that already hate on it. I think just shut up. We're finally getting more Tolkien movies and shows. So it's like, let's just sit and enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. So and that's kind of how I'm taking it. I'm not gonna be picky about.
I mean, I'm still gonna nitpick it.
Sure.
But it's gonna take a lot for me to be like, wow. It's gotta be really bad for me to be like, okay, I'm turning it off and not watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But like changing some aspects of things is not like, even the Hobbits. People like really don't like the Hobbits. I don't mind them that much.
I think they're fine movies, but I don't like them as much as I would have if they stuck with.
Of course not. Yeah. If they stuck with that, but then like, would it be as thrilling as it was? Because realistically,
but that's
not a lot happens on their journey to Smaug.
Yeah, but that's always the thing with the difference with movies and books. Books, you're kind of explaining things out. Movies, their biggest thing is show, don't tell. So when you try to make something exciting versus in a movie than a book, obviously there's like more things they add. Like they've added a whole, like the main bad guy in The Hobbit. They added it adds story, plot, and character development and like the bad side of things, not just like, oh, orcs just showed up at the end of the movie or end of the book or whatnot. They're two different things, and I usually understand when a book or when a movie adaptation changes things from the book. Because they're two different medias.
But let's talk about some of the stuff that happened in the episode. We are going to talk about some of the stuff that happens in the episode.
Spoiler alert for the first two episodes.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen it and you want to watch it yourself, I guess don't watch this.
Yeah.
But I want to.
But if you enjoy us enough and you want to hear the story, like the spoiled from us, go ahead, sit right here. I would watch it because it's us.
You would watch it?
I would watch us spoil it because it's. I think we're funny as fuck.
I don't think we're that funny. Anyway, so I thought that the first two episodes were a bit boring. A bit boring. That does not mean I didn't like them.
Mm-hmm.
I loved them, and I was very excited, and there was a lot of moments I was like, this is awesome, this is really cool.
Do you think that's why they released two episodes? Because they were kind of they're both kind of just there to set up the.
If you just had that one episode, that first episode, I think people would have been upset. Yeah,
because
what happens in the first episode? That's like crazy. They fight one thing.
The asteroid lands.
That's it.
And then like she jumps off the boat.
That's it.
So yeah, I mean
obviously there's a lot of in between that's very important for the story and the build up of what's going to happen, which has to be played out and done. But like if that was like the first episode and that was it, I think a lot of people might have fallen off right away and been like, you know what? This was boring. I was expecting far more. But like, because even bringing it back to the original three, the first movie has a lot of thrilling moments right at the beginning. Mm-hmm. They're running away, going to the prancing pony. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on right at the beginning of the movie that you're like, damn, this is this is good.
I mean, I think these movies can be a little bit more forgiving
Of course.
because Tolkien's universe has a huge fan base. Like, people are going to sit through the boring setup to get to the climax because they're like, I know this stuff usually ends up being good.
Yeah, I like the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything that happened was really cool. I liked seeing them as kids, like, prior in the world, because we've never seen that before.
We've never seen Valinor,
Yeah.
the homeland of the elves, and
Right. And you kind of get a glimpse of it. You don't get to see it per se, but you get a glimpse of it. I mean, you see it, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And then, I liked the whole
seeing a actual working, living dwarven mine. That was cool.
Okay, that was
because
amazing.
Almost every time we see a mine, whether it's in like a
It's
video
like dark
game,
and dingy.
it's like abandoned. It's
Dark, dingy, but
like you
this
see
was
it in
like
the Hobbit movie.
colorful
Yeah.
and
how they grow their crops and stuff like that. They have those like light things to bring light inside, so it's like they don't ever have to leave. Mechanically,
bridges,
everything's
like,
working.
The lifts are working.
Mhm.
Like, that was awesome. That was probably my favorite out of the 2 episodes was when he went to the mines and they were going through like that whole thing. Like,
yeah, the challenge that definitely brought like some cool like culture from like dwarves. They have mining games pretty much.
Yeah, these like rites of passages of almost. And
that was really cool to see. Yeah, I love the mines. I love anything like dwarf and like that stuff. It's
sick,
so cool.
dude.
I love seeing like the dwarven armor and like how the helmet part of it is like the beard, like protecting the beards.
That was wild. A lot of the armor too that they were wearing was like very different for everybody.
There's a spider.
Oh my god. But it was very different for all of them. It's almost as if like they forged their, because they're all like miners and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they all have like an act of forging, and I think they kind of like all forged their own armor. Not talking about the guards, but like just the people around the room, the other dwarves around the room, because every piece of armor was like different. It looked like
It was
nobody
kinda,
had
they were
unified
just, like,
armor except the guards.
Yeah, and that's usually like. Yeah, those had to have been like civilians that just lived there, and they're like the common workers,
or miners or other
miners.
warriors, but
Mhm.
they were all wearing like plated armor and leathers and stuff. So it was like, man, awesome. That was really really cool.
You know what was crazy is that when they released photos for the show earlier, they showed like Durin's wife, and you didn't know it was Durin's wife when they released the photos.
I had no idea who that was.
No, it just looked like
I just thought it was
a dwarf.
Yeah.
And people were panicking like, oh, that looks nothing like what dwarves like wear. But then like, and I was kind of like that too. I was like,
well, yeah,
but it's like, who cares? It's like, it's several centuries or several years before any of this. Like, a lot of things change. Like, the humans are still kind of in like squalor. The elves are in the height of their power in Middle Earth. They're not leaving yet. I mean, there's a lot of things that change. Like the swords that they use, they look like mostly straight swords, but then when we see in like the Third Age of Middle Earth in the films, and obviously it's could be changed just because of film.
Yeah, and the depiction of elves now is a little different than the depiction of elves back in the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's different. But when when her set was shown within the halls of the mine, it looked natural. It looked fine. I was like, man, this looks like just royal dwarven stuff. I didn't really
I mean, she's part of a royal family in the dwarf mines. She's a mother, so she's there probably just taking care of the kids.
I got a question for you too.
Yeah.
When she addressed the kids,
mm-hmm.
we almost needed to watch the second episode last night again.
We probably could have. We sat up.
Yeah.
We sat there.
I was
like
getting kind of tired. I was like,
an hour and a half.
Go. So Connor and I watched the first episode twice, but we've only watched the second episode once. But I think I misheard her, and I almost rewinded it. But I think when she was trying to calm the kids down, did she say Gimli?
I don't think that's possible.
It's not, but
because
I thought
this is hundreds of years prior, and dwarves live normal
year lives. I just thought I heard her say Gimli, and if I heard that, I was gonna be. I don't know. I'll replay it again.
I don't think she did. She might have said like, "Gimme that, gimme that." Like
Oh,
the helmets.
maybe. Yeah.
Because they were running around with the guards' helmets on. They also didn't show you the kids. You notice that?
Yeah, because they were wearing the helmets.
Yeah, but they didn't show them at all. Eating at the dinner table.
Yeah, they weren't eating at the dinner table. No.
They didn't show the kids, and I wonder if they did that because it's like, fuck, how do we make dwarven children? Which is fine, but like, I think they were just showing too that like, hey, he has kids, dwarves have kids, and
yeah, now we know they don't just come out as full adults.
Yeah,
at one point they were a child.
They were birthed.
So we got that confirmed, and I was pretty excited about that.
Haven't seen very much of like orcs. I mean, there was like one encounter. But we haven't seen much of the bad guys. I think it's a build-up thing.
It's definitely a build-up of like the evils coming back.
Yeah, because
Sauron's building up his forces again.
Sure. For the second or first time, to then do it like 3 more times to.
Yeah, because didn't he conquer the Middle Earth like twice throughout the lore?
I don't know. I think maybe. I know like. I know Shadow of Mordor is not like lore, but like in Shadow of Mordor, they control pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Celebrimbor
is in it.
Is
working
in it,
with
and
Lord
he showed
Elrond.
up already. That was cool.
And I kind of when he came in and they're like, we're working on this big project. My first thought was like, oh, they're gonna work on the rings. And I was like, I wasn't too like sure about that. If that was like. But then when they showed that, like, oh, we're building the forge, which is going to be the forge where they probably build the rings, I was like, that's a lot better for me. Because the rings come in, I don't know when the rings come in, I guess, in the lore.
Later, because the men are all, you have all their kings for the men.
Yeah, and they're the first ones to go.
Multiple, rings. But the rings, the rings that were given to the men weren't made by... I don't think they were made by Celebrimbor. Didn't Sauron make those rings?
Sauron...
He made his ring.
He didn't have a ring of power.
The gold ring was not made by Celebrimbor.
Who made the rings?
Remember
then?
In the lore, the Sauron made his own ring, the ring of power. Isn't that what it says at the beginning of the movie?
I think he had his own made, not that he made it. I thought Celebrimbor made all the rings.
I know he makes the elves, and I think he forges the dwarves. I could be wrong. It's been a while. But I think that it's definitely later in the time frame.
Sauron directly made only one of the 20 rings.
Right. He made his ring, the Ring of Power.
Mm-hmm.
So I was right there.
In the creation of the 9 rings for the mortal men. He assisted in the creation of the 9 rings for mortal men.
That's where
and
the
7 rings for the dwarves. The 3 rings for the elven kings were forged by Celebrimbor. Okay. Yeah, that's right then.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, you're a lot closer than me.
Because I knew Celebrimbor still made the... No, did I just say that Sauron made the rings for the men? I did.
Yeah, but in here it said he assisted with making the ones for the men and the elves. So he did have a
hand in it, but I knew he made the Ring of Power because that's the ring that controlled the other rings. Yes. Because of that, he could corrupt the other
the
people.
Rulers of the...
However, it worked faster with the men because men are easily corrupted.
And then I think I saw something where it didn't work on the dwarves as much because dwarves are hardy.
Right. Dwarves ended up fucking their own shit up. Dwarves, and they also ended up fighting with the elves. Mm-hmm. So that was their own demise on that. That wasn't so much the other stuff.
We're sticking too much to the lore of this. We need to talk about what's happening in the show.
The show's great. The show's awesome.
So we kind of talked about this too. Towards the end of the first episode, there's a meteor that crashes down. And in the second episode, the Hobbit, the Half-Foots.
Yeah, Half-Foots, Hard-Foots, whatever they call them. I think it's Half-Foot, but...
one of them runs into the meteor who was in the meteor.
Yeah, the meteor crashes and there's a guy laying in the middle of the meteor, like an old man.
Yeah. Connor at first thought it was like Sauron.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's Sauron, but I was like,
not Sauron.
Yes. No, I meant Sauron.
Oh.
Isn't Sauron the white bearded guy?
Yeah.
No. I meant Sauron.
Oh, no, I don't think it's Sauron.
And I immediately was like, well, there's no way because he's already there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, it's got to be
Gandalf. I think it's Gandalf. And especially towards the end when he's like whispering.
Sorry, if I said Sauron, no. He comes way later because I think he's a human. I don't think he was sent like
Gandalf was.
But before we get back into the lore.
Yeah, so we think that's Gandalf, and it's pretty much like him being created for the first time.
It is so cool in the second episode to see that interaction, I think, with the hobbits or the half-foots and the...
You mean like the effects that they can do now, or what do you, like him...
No, just like the whole interaction. Like, he knows nothing.
Yeah, he knows nothing.
He's just thrown on this planet by the... We don't know if it was like specifically by the hobbits for that reason. They're kind of playing it that's why he was sent in that area. Well, I don't know. It seems like they're kind of playing like the half-foots were meant to meet him first because they're the half-foots, but I don't think that's true.
I didn't feel that. I just felt that they were just there, wrong place, wrong time, kind of, or right place, right time.
Right place, right time. But like Gandalf says, like later on, that like he's thankful that he met them or stuff like that, and I think it's because of this whole interaction now.
Yeah, that's like how he's like known about the hobbits, because not a lot of the world knows about the hobbits,
right?
Or the half-foots.
And where he like he goes like fucking crazy and shit, like
his powers kind of like unleashing and unwinding, and
I'm really excited.
Yeah, once he gets talking or they start like moving, because he sees that he keeps writing out the star constellations.
Yeah,
and they're trying to find that constellation. I'm wondering if that's like taking him to the, like those are implanted in like his mind that he needs to go to those like coordinates within the world to like kind of meet up with probably the heroes of the story. Do you think that's what's happening with that, or do you think that's just where he came from?
I'll be real with you. I have no fucking idea. I don't know. My speculation with the stars is, I don't know. I don't even know if he'll ever meet with them. I'm sure he will, but like, how long is it gonna take for him to just like, okay, he's a wizard. You know what I mean? Like, how long is it gonna take? Like, is it gonna take the whole season for him to like learn? Are they gonna have to teach him how to speak and stuff? I don't think so. I think what's gonna happen is like things are gonna trigger for him really quickly, and then he's gonna be like to that full power and know what he's there to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if like maybe that constellation is showing. Obviously, something's going on with the constellation that plays a big part.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be like where he came from. I don't think.
Right.
That matters enough in the story.
Yeah, because that would just lead to a dead end of like, oh, this is where it came from.
Right. I think it's where he either is going to learn how to do things or learn why he's there, or like that's when it like clicks on him that he's like, you know, get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like when he was resurrected, or however he comes back as Gandalf the White. Is that what you call him?
He's the gray right now.
Right.
He's
when he comes back. But when he comes back, he's like,
Gandalf the White.
Totally different.
He got revived by the thing that created him to...
Sure.
He has to stay till the evil's gone.
But it was like instant that he's like this different person. So I almost feel like it's going to be instant that he becomes Gandalf the Grey. I mean, we know that's what he is now. Mm-hmm. But like, he doesn't know that.
Yeah, but he wasn't... Like there, he was brought back to life. Like he had all his memories back.
Sure, yeah. I just mean like I think
starting fresh.
I don't think we're gonna spend episodes and episodes of him learning how to talk and control his powers. I don't know. I hope we don't. I want it to be like my
guess would be that he doesn't have problems controlling his powers. It's just him like
knowing when to use them,
knowing when to use them, like, or just like learning general things of like, oh, this is a snail, because like he didn't know what a snail was, but Gandalf becomes wise through just being alive so many years like in that world. Like this is his like learning process that he's going to go through.
Yeah, but are we going to have to deal with a baby Gandalf for the entire season is what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's got to be a point where like that whole baby Gandalf phase goes completely away, because then we have a character who's supposed to be Gandalf, and if he never becomes Gandalf in the series quickly, it's a waste of a... You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's gonna...
Like, it's cool. I love that we're seeing this, like, okay, he doesn't know what's going on. He's learning these things. Even if it is... What if it's not even Gandalf? I mean, fuck, we don't even really know. It's gotta be, but...
yeah, I think it's Gandalf.
It's gotta be, but, like, it just... There's gotta be a point where, like, he, like, gets shocked and he learns shit really quick. You get what I'm saying? Otherwise, then it's just gonna be, like...
Slow.
Yeah, the slow interaction with the hobbits and Gandalf the entire series while the elves are out doing all the shit. And that could be what it is. And that could be like the story of the hobbits and Gandalf. And they're showing that beginning while Sauron and the elves are dealing with everything. And the dwarves are dealing with everything else.
Yeah.
We don't know. Because, like, I don't think the hobbits interacted with any of that stuff.
No.
So that might be the two stories we're seeing this whole time. They might never cross. They gotta cross.
Well, there's 3 stories going on right now. No, there's like 4 stories going on right now. You have the Half-Foot with Gandalf, Galadriel, Elrond, and then
Elrond and then
the Black Elf,
and then the Black Watcher Elf. Why did we have to say that? The Watcher Elf and his, like, love triangle with the human.
Now, that kid in there, that's his kid, right?
Oh, 100%.
That has to be.
You've never seen his ears.
Yeah, but
that's the biggest tell.
And, you know, well, the another tell is, like, how angry he is at elves. Like, he hates them. So that's, like, him, like, he hates himself, and he doesn't want to be identified as... Because he wants to be, like, the kids his age. Like, the kid he was with.
Nobody
like,
there likes elves because of... They once fought with the guy prior to Sauron, the humans there. They were, like, fought with the orcs and shit or whatever. They were, like, bad.
Oh, they said the neighboring town was.
Yeah. The one that got burned down in the ground? Yeah. But they all are connected.
Well, they don't like that the elves are just in their land.
Sure, but the elves are there because at one point they were bad. That's why they're there. That's why they've stationed them there for 80-some years. But what I'm saying is, like, he is also growing up, like you said, with everybody there hating elves. So, yeah, he's, like, hiding the fact that he's a half-breed. And, yeah, he's got to, like, somehow hide the fact. So he's always like, oh, I fucking hate elves, too.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's another...
But the rumor, but the whole town has the rumor. They all know.
That they slept together.
Yeah, they all know that kid is a half-breed. Because the other kid... brings the rumor up.
Oh, he brought the rumor up that the mom's sleeping with the elf, not that he's a halfling.
Right, but that's a kid. The kid doesn't understand that aspect of it. The adults do in the town. Come on.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like they've isolated that kid.
No, they're not going to. What's going to happen? Then all the elves show up and fucking go crazy. They don't know what's going to happen. But I'm saying the rumor is the adults in the city are probably like, okay, that kid's got to be.
Yeah, but you don't think that kid who he showed up at the bar, and that was the kid that, like, really got mad at the elf. You don't think if he knew his friend was a half breed that he'd associate with him with how much he hates the elves?
That's what I'm saying, though. The kid doesn't know because he's a kid. He doesn't know the other aspect that, like, the kid I'm talking to could be that kid.
Yeah, but if he knows the rumors.
The rumor is just that his mom is sleeping with the elf.
Right.
So that doesn't.
There's no indication, but there's no other indication that the rest of the town think that kid is.
No, there isn't. But as, like, an adult, we know that kid is the kid. I'm saying, like, in a story aspect, there's got to be people in the city that know that.
Yeah, but
that's why they're so weird to him when he walks through the fucking bar too.
Wait, what?
When the elf walks through the bar.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, we hate elves, right? So they're, like, really adamant about it, but they always are watching him. They know that kid is his. They got to.
No, but the kid his friend even said, like, you know, his dad, like, ran away.
That's what probably.
Well, no, because no. You might be right. Because remember,
I know I'm right.
Hold on.
There's some people.
No, you
in
don't
that
know
town.
you're right. This is all speculation.
I know I'm right.
Shut the fuck up. Because remember, the kid said, "Oh, are you sure your dad ran away?" and whatnot. Like, what happened to your dad?
Right. The rumor is.
Well, if you have brought that up,
I did. I said the whole rumor is that they're sleeping together.
Yeah,
so
but
that means that
he didn't say that was a rumor.
Put one thing to one thing. This kid has no dad. He's a mixed kid. There's no,
What do you mean by that?
He's black. He's half black, and the elf is black. He's a mixed kid. If there's some people in that town putting one thing to another, that is a half-breed kid. And the other elf has even told him. He's like, what's going to happen? Because that elf knows. Because he's the only one in the watch, too, that knows that kid is his kid. Because that was his partner or friend. And he's like, what's going to happen when other people find that out? They're going to kill him. So, like there are people who know.
The one elf just said it just always ends in tragedy. They didn't say, like, they're going to hunt him down and kill him.
It always...
It's not illegal for them to crossbreed.
I know that, but that's what the elf is just saying. That, like, yes, there is a chance that the humans are going to hunt him down and kill him, right? That's what the elf is telling the other elf. Like, what's going to happen when other people find this out? He knows that kid is his kid, just like he knows. Like, obviously, the dad.
Well, does he know that it's his kid, or that he's sleeping with that woman?
He knows that he's sleeping with the woman.
You're right,
for sure. Because he said, did you have a good time at the well? And then the kid brought up the well as, like, the rumor that that's where they've been meeting to do whatever that is they're doing. It's all rumored. We don't actually know. But it's fucking obvious that this stuff is, like, that's the whole story on that end. But I think that other elf knows that that's his kid, too. They've been there for 80 years. That means that, like...
Yeah, but how long's the woman been alive?
She's probably what, in her 40s?
30s, 40s,
30s, 40s. The kid looks like he's in his
Teens.
16.
Yeah.
His 16-year-old kid. I think she even says that. So, like, you can't tell me the other elves, or that one elf isn't like, that's weird. You just went and fucked around with that girl. I know this is, like, really diving into the story.
This is speculation.
You just went and had sex with that girl at the well, and then she ended up pregnant. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
There's got to be people there that are like, we know. And the kid knows he's a fucking half-breed and knows it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so angry.
And then there's going to be a huge reveal, and everybody's going to be like, bro, if people are like, what the fuck, this is crazy reveal. If you don't already know that kid is that dude's kid.
That's his kid, yeah.
You got to get out and watch more movies, because that story, I think, is the worst story in the show so far.
Yeah, I don't know.
The trope for it is so obvious. And I know it's like like, you got to have men in the story.
Probably the biggest part of that story is the kid having that sword. That's obviously, like, Sauron's old, like, elven sword of some sort, right?
I think it's like an old Morgul blade or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the blades that, like, faded away.
And it got his blood and it started growing back. I also didn't, since it's, like, started growing back, I also didn't really see him, like, carrying it when they were leaving. But he obviously has it, right? He's got to have it. He's obsessed with it.
He's got to have it. And then the other elf is going to find it. His daddy's going to find it. And his daddy's going to be like, you half-breed fucker. And he's going to hit him. And then he's going to pull the sword out. That's how the story's going to go. I don't know. But yeah, he's got to have it. The elf's not with him, though. They're migrating. I totally forgot about that.
They're starting to send people back home.
Right. They're starting to leave because those lands are getting covered by those orcs, too. The underground orcs. Those things are kind of freaky.
Yeah.
The whole, like, interaction where he's, like, in the tunnel and the thing's, like, running. I'm like, ooh. It's going to pop out. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a jump scare, but, like, it would only be, like, you know, his eye poking through.
Yeah, so did I. When she was in the cupboard.
Well, but then remember the kid, like, he was, like, hitting the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, freaking rats. And then it was an orc. And then I thought it was cool.
Like, ah!
It was cool.
What the fuck?
It was cool when she took the head of the orc that they killed to the bar to be like, listen here, it's real. And because
if I was the barkeep, I'd been like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, no, that was cool. The whole show's pretty good right now.
I enjoy it for what it is, and if it's got,
we need more action.
Need more action. Oh, here. Okay, so we're running out of time. Not we're running out of time, but we're like at what we usually try to make these episodes a little bit shorter.
Anyways,
the boat part with the Leviathan fish thing. The guy that she ends up kind of
I'm
partnering.
interested to see what you're gonna say here.
You think this is supposed to be kind of the Aragorn character?
I think it's an heir. I think he is
really hope
tied to the family.
I really hope it wouldn't be. But I do like
a royal family. He's got to be, dude. You got to have.
He was from a South town. He said they ruined his
maybe he's a bastard kid.
He could be. I don't think he is part of the heir.
His human story though is going to be more important than the other girl, because they end up at the big city.
But I think this is going to be the guy. He's going to tag along, but he's already he's got these characteristics that I like, that they're not trying to make him an exact replica of Aragorn, because like you said, he pretty much kicked all the other people off to save himself. Not off, but he broke apart a part of the wreckage.
Yeah, to get away.
Obviously Aragorn would never do that.
No, he's
got a survivor and
he's the human that everybody likes. He's gonna be he's that cocky good fighter. Yeah, he's gonna have a
good fighter, Han Solo, early Han Solo kind of character.
He's gonna be that character
of kind of doubting
the
things
badass,
and yeah.
But yeah,
I think.
What do you think about the whole scene, that whole encounter?
That was all right. I was
I wish I would have seen.
I mean,
more
obviously,
of a Leviathan.
obviously, with her jumping off the boat, she was gonna find either obviously a boat or wreckage like that. I mean,
I thought a boat was gonna pick her up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just, I kind of thought the whole her jumping off the boat was a little bit well, what is she going to do now? Her plan was literally just going to be to swim back, which would have been terrible.
Yeah, but she's an elf.
She's an elf.
So they're a little more resistant to things. But
death.
But then again, she would have to swim hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Yeah. So obviously there was going to be some sort of interaction, and these things there's only one or two outcomes.
Of course, there's going to be an interaction. I just meant what did you think about the Leviathan? It was a very quick interaction.
It was cool. I guess it was quick. We've never really seen anything like that in any Lord of the Rings films because we're always on land. You got me there.
Don't forget about the octopus.
You got me there.
Yeah.
I mean,
the swamp monster, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the ocean, we don't really
course.
see the ocean that much.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is very tied to land. There really is no naval interaction.
Yeah, and something like Game of Thrones, that map is laid out very narrow, vertical, and
there's also two continents.
There's two continents,
so you're gonna have naval fights in that.
And naval was kind of the best way to travel around in Westeros because you could just hop over and swim across. But Middle Earth is very land.
Very mountainous.
Based. I think there's a website now that has a map of Middle Earth, and it's updating based on the show, so you can kind of keep track of where people are.
That's
exactly
cool.
In the map, and I thought that would be interesting to pull up.
Celebrimbor and I always forget his name.
Elrod.
They traveled so fast to the mine.
Yeah, and
I thought that was a weird kind of thing.
The thing I thought was weird is that their clothes were the same and they didn't have traveling supplies because you're traveling for days.
I thought that was very odd to see in Lord of the Rings.
It looked like to them that they just took a 5-minute stroll down to the next kingdom.
That was one of the scenes. It was a very quick scene. It's not very important.
They should have had them getting off horses or something.
Yeah, or have guards with them. Mm-hmm. And they're getting off horses with elven guards. But it was the two, and I get it because he was oh, this is my friend. We'll be okay. But it's still
there was
Celebrimbor, who's the best elven smith ever to live in Middle Earth ever, and
with an up and coming politician. Yeah, and there was just no indication that they traveled a long way.
There was though, because they pan out to the map. they pan out
No,
to
no,
the
no.
map.
Like, I get that, but like as far as like them,
Yeah,
there
there
was
wasn't.
like I said, it just looked like they took
it was
a
awkward.
little stroll down
Very, very
the
awkward. At
rocks.
least like change their clothes.
Change the clothes, put even horses in the like literal background, so it looks like they're walking away from the horse
and they
rounds.
were walking away from like a carriage. So then you know that they traveled on a carriage. Is my camera fuzzy?
No.
No, I thought it looked fuzzy, but sorry. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
That was
so-
awkward for me.
Yeah,
And then he goes into the mine and he tells Celebrimbor, "I got this." So what does Celebrimbor do? Does he go all the way back?
I think he went home because he said, "Give me like 3 or 4 days," or so. He told him like give him a couple days.
Okay, so that means it's gonna take him a couple days to get back home. It was weird. It was like it felt like a cartoon.
Yeah, maybe
Cartoon
that like,
transition.
maybe that timeline isn't like exactly panned out. But
Yeah, I don't
obviously
think
we're
so.
just
I
gonna
just
watch
mean,
and
like-
move on and not care.
Right, it's not that big of a deal. I just mean like those are the little things though that you look at and you're kind of like, that's weird. I mean,
like
you still want the show to feel good and realistic, and that takes an aspect out that's a little. It makes it a little less realistic, and for the normal viewer, they're not gonna care and they're not gonna notice it. But like for some people who like watch it multiple times or study what they're watching and aren't just watching it for like the actors and the interactions that are happening on play, but you're actually watching it for like the whole aspect of like, what does the background look like? How pretty is it? Like every elven background was so goddamn beautiful. Like the whole like film for it was so good. So like that stuff's gonna catch people's eyes, and I think it's important that it looks believable.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't believable. That it took them days to get there is weird. Don't pan out to the map then. I know they're panning out to the map to show like, okay, now the mines are over here and the city's over here. But when you do that, we're expecting a long travel, right? And especially in Lord of the Rings, where like the whole show is about people traveling great lengths, doing things. We're so used to that now.
Yeah, because everything's so spread out and
Yeah.
all this
It's
like
covered by
it's-
there's the forest you got to go through, and I'm not saying I want to see their travel to the mine,
but show us that they did travel in
Right.
some way, not just like it looked like
they just
They-
warped there.
it just looked like me and you having that conversation. It's like, well, did you ever consider outside help? And I go, let's just walk down the block right here, and
Yeah.
it just looked like they just walked there that same afternoon.
See, and they do a lot of transition where like they were at Linden or whatever, the capital for elves, and then they went to a different city of elves, which is the Forging City. It's a totally different city. There's no transition. There's a transition from those city to city, but that feels okay because
We're cutting into like different other stories, right?
no, it was
pretty much
Celebrimbor leaving Linden with Elrond to go to the Forging City after he was like, I need you to go help him, work with him. They panned to that. There might have been a break in between there. I don't remember. But like that feels a little more comfortable because at that point it's like, okay, they're in a city. They might have like stayed at the city for a little bit. But like it's weird for them to show up at the front of the mine
And no,
right after be talking in the city. So I bet there was something in between that, but
yeah.
it just felt weird. Little things that I'll notice in every episode.
I think the weirdness of it was just we're cut immediately to them like walking up to the
Up to
mine
the
because
mine.
that was like immediately I was like, it just seems like they just
See, they
warped
could have
there,
them,
like you
like,
said.
coming out of a carrot or
Are we being too picky?
I don't think so. I don't think
we're
so
not
at
being
all.
picky enough.
Or getting off the horse and then interacting with each other, saying like, "Oh, this is he's a good friend," and they're climbing off the horse or doing whatever. Now we have an indication that they traveled a long time on horseback. How the fuck did they get there? We have no idea.
It just looked like they walked.
That would be like her jumping off the boat and then immediately just being in one of the cities.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll watch the
I
third
am
episode and bring it
I'm
back.
shook. I'm shook. The whole series is shit because of that. No, I'm kidding. But to leave it, what's our time at?
Like 44 minutes right now.
All right, what what's your final verdict of the show?
So far, I am really enjoying it. Those are little things, minor things.
Yeah, those
to me,
that doesn't change.
And like,
my
I'm
opinion.
not like a huge Tolkien lore buff that's like, oh, this didn't happen like in the book. I'm like, listen, I just love the universe. I love watching the universe. The Hobbit Hobbits were good movies. I don't think it really like.
It's not movies I would sit down and watch like for fun.
Yeah. But I think for this, I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. I can live with it. I'm not gonna try and break down.
And you didn't watch what's the little scene that says what's coming up.
Yeah, and I'm trying to not watch those. I just want to like watch it. You know.
Let me tell you, there's some hairy shit gonna happen.
Oh, so like a lot of things with a lot of hair?
Oh, a lot of things with fire. It's going to be awesome.
Like you already kind of told me the other
Well,
Friday.
come on. You think that's not going to happen? It's got to happen. So,
well, yeah, because he's not the only Balrog. There's several Balrogs.
Yeah,
and then there used to be one giant Captain Commander Balrog.
Yeah, there's not just one. It's like a
species.
It's a demon.
Yeah,
it's a species of demon.
Yeah.
So, rate you gotta rate it out of 10.
Oh God.
The 2 episodes.
See, I feel
This
like
doesn't rate the whole series. We haven't seen enough.
I
to
feel like
rate
I'm kind of biased because I just love.
That's fine.
I think Lord of the Rings
rating.
is like one of like my favorite universes of all
I think it's
time.
the best one of all time.
Yeah, the only one I can think of that comes.
He
close.
literally invented orcs.
Yeah. I think the only thing that comes close to like loving universes like that is like Star Wars, and those are like completely two different sides of the spectrum. Like, so I don't know. I mean, What?
You gotta rank it.
Fuck me. I'm gonna
just on the 2 episodes.
So on the 2 episodes, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
And the reason I'm gonna give it a 7 is because you brought up a good point of it's kind of slow and boring and set up. Now that's not gonna leave me to say that the rest of the show is going to be
we'll rank it
7.
at every episode release.
Like next week at the end of the episode we just go Lord of the Rings episode, what did you rank it, and leave it at that.
And then our ranks will change for the whole season 1. We'll have a season 1 rank at the end.
Yeah, so I mean I'm expecting kind of a lot more exciting things to start coming, but these first 2 it's just a setup, and I'm not leaving that ranking to like really like, oh, it was really boring, and I'm really hoping it is going to pick up, which I am going to. It's going to.
Yeah, it'll pick up. So you're giving it a 7.
I'm going to give it a 7. But I do really like it. I think it's...
Yeah. The 7's good. It's a passing grade.
It is a passing grade.
I will give it a 7 as well. Because...
He's copying me.
No. My reason I'm giving it a 7... Also, because there was times watching it where I was like, man, this is kind of stale. But I'm also coming off of watching the first 2 episodes of the new Game of Thrones, which were insanely good, in my opinion. So it's kind of weird because it's kind of in the same fantasy style. But, like, I'm going to give this one a 7. There's a lot of stuff I freaking love. Like, if I could... rank them individually, the second episode was way better. That's the episode they go to the mines.
Yeah, and all the like stuff starting.
There was
to
a lot more
a
stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was way better. But like as the 2 episodes together, a 7. And I also watched like what's coming next, and that's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
there's a lot of battle scenes coming.
Good. I want to see them. So. I'm hoping that, maybe some dwarves might, because when they did it in The Hobbit.
They'll be fighting things.
Well, in The Hobbit, when like seeing the first time a dwarven army, that was so cool.
In The Hobbit, the fight where the elves and the dwarves fight together to fight off the Uruk-hai or the orcs there.
Awesome.
That is the best part of the entire 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, like, the dwarves were like, fuck it, we're going because it's their mine.
Mm-hmm.
And they charge in. And then you think the elves aren't going to help.
Yeah, they're
going to
be
they do the massive shield wall where it was like curled up shield wall.
And like
and then all of a sudden the elves just like fucking are jumping over. And it's not like they had a verbal agreement that they were going to fight together. It was just so cool to see like all the elves jump over the dwarves and then just start like slicing.
Don't you think it was kind of poorly planned on the orcs' part to, attack when like 3 armies were there? Wouldn't it make more sense that like these
did
guys
they know that they were both there? I don't think they did because the elves and dwarves were fighting, weren't they?
Yeah,
or they were about to fight or some shit.
Well,
like that.
I mean, as an orc, wouldn't you like your scouting party would be like, oh, dude, I think you're gonna fight. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's just wait.
They're not the smartest creatures in.
What are you talking about? They had a whole like command system set up with flags. That's just for the movie. But,
were those Uruk-hai or those orcs?
Those are
the
orcs. Uruk-hai weren't made.
They were made
with
the next century.
Sauron.
Yeah, those are the smarter ones.
Yeah,
those are the ones that have like the ability to like actual lead. Per se, the orcs before were just fucking mindless creatures.
Yeah, they have like a very primal, like leadership, like the strongest is the leader.
Yeah, an alpha, an alpha.
But like the Uruk-hai, like they're fine with like appointing a leader that is capable of leading. Like Saruman, he had one picked out to be his leader.
The Uruk-hai.
The Uruk-hai.
Yeah, that first one. It was the first one, wasn't it?
It might have been the first one.
Yeah. But as a whole, it's pretty good. I'm excited. to see the next one.
It's awesome. I'm really hoping that we get kind of...
We're only going to get one episode, though, next week.
Yeah. And, who knows how many like seasons this is going to be, because there's obviously going to be an end.
I'm going to guess 3. That's a lot. It's
There's
only
a
8
lot.
episodes a season, though.
Mm-hmm.
At least for this season. We already have 2. I think it's going to be 3 seasons. That's a lot. I don't think we'll see the forging of the rings until like season 2, if we ever even see the forging of the rings. We have to see the forging of the rings. It's the whole point of the fucking show. But but there's... I mean, obviously there's men, king... Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be 3 seasons, though. They might fucking stretch it on. I think it should only be 3 seasons, is what I should say.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do it all in 3 seasons, you got a little trilogy of seasons, I think you did it right.
Yeah.
We'll see. It might get stale.
And, they might, do this series for a little bit, and if it did well, like, obviously end it, or, like, do your thing with, like, 3 seasons. There's so much in that happens in like the rest of the world, or like the rest of like whatever goes on in like Middle Earth, like the other time that Sauron came to power and stuff. They could obviously make multiple spin-off series. Like, this doesn't have to be the one and done.
Sure, it doesn't, but like the thing about Lord of the Rings is it's based off of like that whole one story of like the creation of the rings to the destruction of the Ring of Power. Like,
and
is
Sauron's
there going
always
to be
the bad guy.
Right? Is there going to be anything that is happening outside of this huge event that's going to be watchworthy? I mean, there is the fighting of the dwarves and the elves, and there is like the dwarves.
I mean, like look at the story of the Hobbit. The Hobbit is like the thing that really just ties it into it is that he found the One Ring. And then there's nothing like really in the movies. They address it quite a bit of like, oh, it's the One Ring, the evil One Ring, and Sauron's coming back.
Huge. I guess that's not a huge turning point because realistically,
in the movies it was because the orcs want the mountain for a strategic like vantage point.
Like the Hobbit finding the ring.
Oh,
Bilbo finding the ring. Like it would have all happened the same had Gollum had the ring. Actually, they would have had the ring
because they found Gollum.
Because they found Gollum prior to.
Yeah, but I think
or after
you don't think
Bilbo
that they could do, depending on like when these rings get dispersed. Like, what if there was a series when the men get the rings and it's like the men are turning into the bad guys, and it's a whole like Game of Thrones like struggle of like power.
I mean, there's plenty. I mean, Andor's coming out for Star Wars this month, and that whole thing's about a political power race before
the rebellion's born.
Rebellion.
Yeah.
And then that's how the rebellion is kind of formed on that before. So yeah, I mean, I guess there is.
There could be stuff.
You
that's
just don't want
like
to spin it off too much. Like what I'm trying to say is Lord of the Rings is so good with just that original story that I don't feel like we need a ton of spin-offs.
Right.
Like games are fine because you can make them non-canon. And you could do that with movies too, but what's the fun in watching a non-canon movie? I would rather it all be pretty
canon.
tied to the same story. I see what you're saying. I just don't want there to be too many Lord of the Rings shows that it ends up like a Disney thing where they're like,
they just ruin
we're
it.
doing a series for everything like Star Wars is doing, which is fine. It works for Star Wars though, because Star Wars is a fucking galaxy-wide universe.
You're
like,
right.
There's so much going on in there. Like you have different factions and people working, doing different things. And Lord of the Rings, it's like you have a couple races that are all kind of tying to the same thing. Like all the elves are doing the same thing.
What do you mean by races?
You know what I mean. All right, we're carrying on though.
Yeah, so far, really great. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. Everybody, have a great Labor Day weekend. We forgot to mention that at the beginning of the episode.
It's going to be past Labor Day weekend, my guy. It's coming out on Monday.
Yeah, it'll be out Monday. So everyone have a great Labor Day today.
Today.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We're doing strobe lights for the ending. And
Bye.
let's do the outro music.
It's already going.
It's already going. See ya. Bye.